Morning everyone. It's day 51 of the challenge and I've just come home from a nice walk around Sydney Harbour. So I thought this morning it was a bit cooler, thank God. It's been like 39 yesterday and now we're down to like 20 degrees today. It's a little bit of cloud in the sky and a little bit of sprinkling this morning, so I was kind of like need to take Biggie for a walk, but was not really all that keen doing the same kind of route that we do around my place. So decided I'm gonna drive into the city, park at the Domain, and walk around the foreshore, which is really nice. Really glad I did it. You know, I live so close, maybe like 10-minute drive into the city, and I don't take advantage of walking that foreshore enough. And it's so nice to see the Harbour Bridge and, you know, the Opera House that you take for granted. Seen it, you know, even though it's not the greatest of weather, but it was great morning. So just went for a bit of a walk with Biggie, having a bit of a slow start or ease into the weekend in terms of training. Yesterday went pretty hard on doing legs and did squats on the Smith machine, and it was really good. Did it before work, so I'm in that really comfortable and privileged position where I'm flexible with my job and I can work from home a couple of days a week, so it makes it really easier to then get up in the morning, go to the gym at, you know, that 5 o'clock and still kind of ease into the morning, not having to worry about commuting into work and getting out of, you know, rush in the morning. So it was good. So I did legs. So like I said, I did the Smith machine with squats. I did you know, my hammies and thighs. However, I've woken up, well actually late last night, I've had this really sore pain here on the side, right hand side of my hip. Did a Google search, was obviously not the greatest thing to do, and I was like, oh my God, do I have appendicitis? Like, this is so painful, just like an overwhelming pain of just like the worst period pain you've ever had. Cramp, but it's not a cramp, it's like a stitch, but it's worse than a stitch. So I've kind of got over that, you know, had a sleep and then woken up and it's still pretty sore. So I'm thinking that I've pulled a muscle when I was going deep squat on the Smith machine. It's not weighted, but it's quite heavy having the bar on your shoulders and squatting, and I went quite low. So I have a feeling that's what I've done. If it doesn't go away in a couple of days, I will go to the doctor and just check it out for you know, to ease my mind. But this week it's been a bit of a mixture. I've been busy at work. I went to the gym on Monday and also on Friday. I'm hoping today, this afternoon, I'll get to the gym. I've got a lunch with my parents soonish. So I am going to have it in my head, have my stuff ready to go and go for a gym session, probably just cardio. I know I'm going to my parents' place, so it's going to be pasta. So for lunch, so I'll get to the gym and just kind of work that off. But I'm happy that I've gone and, you know, done the walk with Biggie this morning. He's got his exercise. He's kind of now just sleeping under the table as we chat. In terms of the weight element, I'm kind of plateaued a little bit, only because I know I've been not as full on diet wise. As in, I've had days where I've had carbs. You know, I had a pizza last night. Like I said, I'm gonna have carbs again today. So I think, you know, as much as I try to be as strict on my diet as possible, I want to be as transparent and, you know, authentic as I can when I'm making these videos and saying there are days and weeks that I'm going to be, you know, not as strict, and that's fine. That's going to happen. There's always going to be setbacks in life normally, and that doesn't exclude, you know, your diet and eating habits. However, I am my own guinea pig, and I know what foods affect me. And as you get older, I'm now 41, almost 42 in 2 months. I know that I have to work extra harder at the gym. I have to really be concise and consistent with the diet I have if I want to achieve my goals. So there has been a few kind of personal things happening that tend to derail you, I guess, and that's going to happen in life. So there's got to be days where, you know, just give me the pizza, just give me the ice cream, just give me this, like, and yeah, I might not train every day, or I might not train the 4 days that I want to intentionally do, but I might do 3 and I might do 2, and I'll take the dog for a walk, and that's got to be enough sometimes. You know, sometimes there's just not enough hours in the day, and sometimes there's not enough energy to do everything the way I want, and the way, you know, I know that I'm gonna get to my goal by doing so. So I guess the lesson there is, what can I do to like not get derailed all the time when something happens? So it might be a bit of emotional drain, it might be a bit of a, you know, physical exhaustion. You know, what can I do to ensure that I'm not reacting to those moments in life by like, I just want the pizza, I just want this, I just want that. Like, being aware that yes, that will happen, and I know my body does have a reaction to that type of kind of carbohydrates. You know, I can have carbohydrates when it comes to vegetables, pretty simple. I don't have any reaction to the carbohydrates in that, but when it comes to that kind of more, I guess it's simple carbohydrates. I think, you know, when it comes to it being, you know, high in gluten, really kind of dense type of carbohydrates, that really does have an effect on me. So I need to know that, and I think that's really important, knowing what your body, how your body is, how it reacts, what foods it can take, what exercise and training you know it can take, and what other stresses, you know, that your body can take, and how it reacts to those stresses. You know, it's really important, because then you can know that, look, if I have that glass of wine, or if I have that, you know, that pizza or pasta, or if I have that stress in my life, I know that my body is going to react this way. And I can either say, oh, whatever, it'll only last, you know, the pain in my stomach from all the gluten's only going to last like 2 or 3 days, and I'm fine with that, then you're fine with that. Or if you're like, no, this is not what I want, I don't want to feel like kind of that stuck, lethargic kind of stickiness that, you know, is what I kind of call it. You feel like sticky, everything is like, you feel the food in your body, like it just doesn't digest, and that's how I feel when I have those foods. So, and then obviously that has a knock-on effect, a roll-on effect. You know, I feel tired, so then I don't want to train, and then I sit on the couch, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sitting on the couch and feel tired again. You know, I'm not doing anything. I try to overextend myself, and then that doesn't work. So there's so many things that come into my kind of, I guess, regime or routine when it comes to, you know, training and eating well. And there's a lot of, you know, barriers and blockages that come up when just in normal life that can really derail you. And I think the best way not to dwell in that is to recognize it and say, okay, yeah, this is why I'm feeling this way. You know, I kind of think I've pulled a muscle, or hopefully nothing worse, but pretty much pulled a muscle, you know, in my lower abdomen. That might derail me in the type of, you know, exercise I do or training I do, and be okay with that. And, you know, I think you can then find alternatives. Okay, that's going to derail me. So today I wanted to do a full-on like cardio session, and, you know, maybe my body's not going to respond to that really well with this pain. So maybe I'll just do a light walk, or I might just run on the jog on the treadmill and see how that works, or go on the elliptical machine and see how you feel. You've got to recognize and then adjust and then just be fine with it. So I'm learning all of these things along the way, and this morning was great because I got on the phone. I had a really good chat with a friend of mine, and we're just talking about, you know, what we want out of life, and, you know, talking about this really cool book that he was telling me about that I want to actually start to read or get on audio books about 4,000 weeks. You know, we've only got this amount of time in our lives, which sounds really depressing when you think about it, but actually it's a way of being concise with your life, getting rid of anything that's going to be something that's going to derail you, something that's going to just really waste your time. And that's, you know, that's people, that's jobs, that's, you know, anything you put your energy to that's not right, like that's not serving you. And I know that's a very woo-woo kind of, you know, way of talking, but in reality it is true. These things are cliches, or these things are kind of like woo-woo because they're actually, it happens, you know, there are things that are not serving you, and that's how you react to things. So we had a really good chat, and it was actually nice to have that chat while I was walking the dog, while I was in a different setting. I was, you know, out of my normal routine of walking around the block, or I went down to Sydney Harbour, which I never do. I think Biggie loved it because he was running like a little champ. And I think doing different things that serve you, different things that energize you, being around people that are on like your same level when it comes to same interest and mindset, that rejuvenates everything. And I think that really helps just as much as a great training session in the gym will help. So, you know, I might have plateaued in terms of weight loss, or I plateaued in terms of, I guess, what I'm eating this week, but the reality is I've been nourished in different ways, and I think that's just as important. So that's kind of my lesson for this week. I am determined to ensure that, you know, I get back on track and I get back onto this train of, it's been a couple of weeks where I've kind of really perhaps leaned into the indulgent side of me in terms of what I'm eating, which really has a big effect. Like, I know that I can train 4 days a week, but if I'm not eating right, then it just kind of blows it out the window. It doesn't, you know, it derails what you're doing. So I think there's definitely, you know, that 80-20 rule of, you know, eating great 80% of the time, and then having that 20%, you know, that can kind of go into indulgent things. But, you know, also that means 80% you're eating, what you're eating is really important, and then training really accompanies that. And I think, you know, there's a lot of people you can follow on Instagram or TikTok that are great motivations, but I think also surrounding yourself with friends and people and colleagues and, you know, acquaintances or whatever it is really important, and really has a huge effect on your mindset when you're doing everything else in your life, including eating and training. So I thought I'd jump in today and just give that update. Like I said, it's day 51, so we're kind of just almost at the 2-month mark of this challenge. And I think, you know, I always knew that going into this challenge, it would be a great way to motivate me, but it was so much more about getting back into good habits as it is, you know, winning a challenge overall, which would be great. But, and, you know, I've got a group of people that are also doing the same thing, but it was always for me about changing and my lifestyle and what my choices, and having something to make me accountable in doing that, and, you know, making it a lifestyle change, as opposed to just a one-off kind of, challenge that will finish and people get on lives and they will either change their habits or they won't, or they'll go back into, you know, just doing the same thing they did beforehand. But really for me, I think I know what my body is like at an optimum kind of health and fitness level. Not to say an athletic optimum. It's an optimum for me, where I feel strong, where I feel healthy, where I feel fit mentally and physically. And I think that was the biggest challenge for me, and the reason why I went into this challenge. So that's the update. It's Saturday. It's a bit of a gloomy day in Sydney, but actually the walk in the sprinkly rain and, you know, the overcast weather was actually kind of cool and nice, and really doesn't always have to be sunny for you to feel good, you know, and do things. I think that's, you know, you can be motivated just to do things out of pure motivation and wanting to get things done, and you always are, the better for it. So I'll check in soon. See you guys.